Welcome to the first episode of the Drive Fitness Podcast. I am your host, Tom Driver. Drive Fitness is an exercise tracking application that gamifies the entire experience as you enter in your workouts. It gives you points, challenges, medals, and allows you to compete with your friends while improving your exercise goals. One day, we hope to connect the app to smart technology so that users can track all of their exercises automatically without inputting any of the data themselves. In order to achieve this goal, we've created this podcast so I can sit down with experts in fields such as software development, hardware development, fitness, and many more. Today, my first guest is going to be none other than the co-founder of Drive Fitness. Welcome, Matt Dromazos.
Hey everyone, thanks for having me on, Tom.
Of course. How are you doing today?
I'm good, man. I'm staying alive with the coronavirus. How's everything going with you?
Pretty good, man. Now, as big of a deal as the coronavirus is right now, I think we should just jump into things.
Let's do it.
You have taken over basically most of the coding of the app at this point, and the newest version you think is going to be ready in a week or two. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. I'm finalizing the last couple things. I'm excited to be putting it out, and later in the podcast, we'll be talking more about the details on that.
All right, great. So for those of you who don't know, the last version, it essentially had an exercise tab that allowed you to track all your exercise data, and then a leaderboard to compete with your friends, and a little profile page. What is new on this version, Matt? What can we expect?
So with this version, we have added in the whole new feature of adding in your workouts. And so with the workouts, you can essentially create your own. And later on, we're going to be adding an official release by Drive Fitness workouts that will be personalized to your own body type, what you're trying to achieve. Maybe it's muscle mass, maybe it's losing weight and getting more toned muscle. So yeah, this is in the app, it's officially called a workout day. And so with your workout day, you go in and you add the exercises that you want to do. And as you're going through it, maybe you start and you want to switch something up. You can easily, within that workout, remove the exercise, add in a new one, switch it around so that you can customize it based on what you're doing at the gym for that day, even if it changes dynamically.
That's amazing, dude. I cannot wait to set up some workouts. So on my end, one of the new things that I worked on for this release is a new gains calculator. So on the old version of the app, you used to literally just get 5 points for every set you entered in, and you got 10 points if that was a new record. For this new gains calculator, it takes into account your weight, it takes into account if you're male or female, and then it has this big equation that basically tries to shift everyone's weight and gender into a more, even playing field. And then it takes into account how hard that exercise was and your weight and reps and a bunch of different factors. In fact, I think I'm going to have to make a separate YouTube video at some point just to kind of detail how in depth our new gains or point system is for this version. That's something I'm really excited about. Matt, what else have you put into this version of the app?
Yeah, so another thing that we put out is pretty much it's a whole new database of exercises. And so before, with the old version, you would have to go through and create a workout, and it wasn't based off of anything official, right? You could add in anything that you want, and you can still do that, right? But we have this whole database of exercises for you to pick from. And so it's easily, when you're creating your workout, you can go through, select what you want, click, 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 boom, there's your exercise regimen for the day. And so that gets saved, and you can go whenever you want and start that workout. And so with this whole new back end of exercises, it makes everything official. It makes it so all the data is not duplicated, and so people aren't entering the same exercises if they're going from one specific place. It makes everything a lot more standardized.
Another thing to pair along with that's going to be on a future version is we've even started creating animations for each exercise. So hopefully almost all these pre-built exercises that are in the app are also going to have a little animated cartoon basically that is, doing a little chest press workout or squat workout. And so not only can you, have a pre-made exercise, but it's a little educational. You can learn how to do it, what's the proper form, to go along with each exercise. I think there's a couple more things that you built into the app, right? Some visualizations are kind of upgraded. Anything else to go over with this new version?
Yeah, so you made a good point with the new visualizations. We've added in more intuitive graphs, and we've updated the whole visuals on those graphs. So essentially, they look better, they're easier to understand, and actually give you more information. And so when you're looking at your history, you can see, okay, where am I at for this day? Should I be doing more on this exercise with this set of reps? And it's easier to go in and see what the data actually what matters instead of just seeing a cluster of data and you're not really sure what to make out of it. So we're definitely excited about that, and I think just testing it myself, I get a lot more information. I can actually see my workouts increasing and my 1 rep max actually increasing for those different workouts.
Nice, man. I always thought that the visualizations were a huge important part of the app, and they really, especially for me, I'm a visual learner, and it really helps me to kind of see, my progress instead of just be looking at numbers. Let's just take a step back, Matt, and I just want to ask you, why did you decide to join me and start working on Drive Fitness? It's been about, I think, over two and a half years since you've been working on this app.
Yeah, man. So it's an interesting start. I remember when we first talked about it, it was probably one of our brotherhood retreats in fraternity, and I was talking to you about how I was starting my own company. I had my own app that I was building, but I wasn't really too into it. And when you pitched the idea to me, I was really intrigued by it because I've always been super into fitness. I wrestled in high school, and so I've always looked at this, and I've always had an entrepreneurial mindset. And so it really intrigued me when you brought up this idea, and one day you asked me to help you out. So I was gladly to start helping you out. I remember I came over one day and we fixed one problem that was going on it, and it kind of trickled down to me working on a lot with you, and then eventually becoming co-owner.
Mm-hmm. When you started, the app was somewhat of like a rough draft. It was kind of there. The idea was there, but the performance was terrible, right? Like, I didn't have any of that background knowledge. Just so you guys know, Matt did get a degree in computer science. And so he kind of took that knowledge, right, one step further and kind of helped turn this into like a professional application, not just, like a really good school project, I would say, So I've really appreciated having you on the team. It's been really important. Can you dive a little further into kind of what state the app was in when you first started working with me, and kind of what did you do to improve it, in the early days?
Yeah, so I was really intrigued when I first saw the app of the visualizations of the front end. I think that's really, what got me excited about it when I first came on, and that's one of the reasons I really wanted to join. And so the visualizations, the whole front end looked really good, and where I came in, where my specialty was in computer science, was understanding optimizations of back-end grabbing data and maybe optimizing the database. So when I came in, I knew that the first thing I had to do was really make sure that when we were grabbing data, it was the most efficient way to do it, and so that our performance when users were opening up the app, entering their exercises, it wouldn't take too long. And so that's where I came in. I said we need to have a whole different kind of back end and structure it in a more structured way. Before it was using Firebase, which is actually a really great framework. I know a lot of people use it, and that's not no skin off me using Firebase, but my actual specialization is using Java code and different relational databases. So I played to my strengths with that, and I wanted to change it to be more structured. We changed it to have an actual API, which optimized the flow of data, so that we, instead of grabbing huge bits of data when the user grabbed it on the app, we would make a call to this backend Java code, which would optimize and only grab what we needed for that moment. Great.
Thank you for going over that. Let's move to the podcast, right? This is the first episode. Woo!
Yeah, fucking thank God, man.
Man, I'm so happy to be here, dude. I've been wanting to kind of like promote this thing for years. And I think I finally found like the right platform to kind of do it on. So we're going to crank this out on Apple Podcasts. I'm going to put it out on Spotify. And then I think those are going to be my two kind of audio platforms for now. There's a couple other options, but I think a lot of people are on those two.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to crank out a YouTube channel, right? And then I'm going to be pushing these YouTube videos to like Instagram and Facebook and other platforms like that. So we're going to start to have a pretty big outreach with this podcast, and I'm hoping that's going to end up getting more users on the app, and having just a nice flow of kind of information coming through, because I think we need a good pool of users to kind of like understand and make improvements with application. So I don't know, what do you kind of want to see me talk about on this podcast? Are there any type of guests that you kind of want to have on? Any general thoughts about where this should be going?
Yeah, so there's definitely two main things I want to have on this podcast, and we'll definitely be going into different areas, but I think the main two things that pertain to our business and our app are fitness and wellness, and then hardware. So I know a lot about the software, and we can definitely have me on for different topics with that, and other people as well who are more specialized. But the two main things that we're focusing on is our vision. For one, is hardware. We want to have it so you go into a gym and it automatically tracks the app, right? So that's not my specialty, and going further with there and having someone who can actually explain the software is really important. And then with health and wellness, that's something where we're already at right now, where we could have someone on and we can talk about how we can structure workouts to specific users, like we said. So if we wanted to have a guy on and talk about if you're looking to gain weight or muscle mass, or you're looking to slim down, we can make official Drive Fitness workouts and specialize those workouts and promote it to different individuals, rather than going and creating your own, which is great, but some people like to go on an app and have their workout already there for them.
Yeah, that just gave me a great idea. We could actually maybe have someone come and build a customized workout for the app, say like the John Smith, workout. And then we could have John Smith on the podcast, and he can talk about why he made that workout and whatever, do a little promotion for the workout he kind of put in,
Yeah. One thing that's really good with the way that we've structured and added in the exercises is that we have a lot more extra data. So saying, so this exercise is for muscle mass, or doing it this way, allows us to add in those workouts and get more information so that we can reach more users and for the information that they want.
Yeah. Well, yeah, man. I think that obviously we want to have people like who specialize in software and entrepreneurship on the show too, but it seems like based on kind of our network right now, we're going to have no problem finding people who specialize in software. Obviously, we work with them every single day. Same thing me and Matt actually went to it was JMU's Summer Accelerator program, in which we were in a program with like 10 other entrepreneurs, and it was a great experience. I think we're going to talk about that more on a future episode, but we have no problem, I think, finding other entrepreneurs at the moment. What do you think that your involvement with the podcast should be? And I don't know, what kind of do you want to do for future videos that you're going to be a guest on?
Yeah, so I definitely want to, focus on the software and different features that we want to add into the app. So definitely, adding in something like we were talking about, machine learning, would be definitely cool. Talking about different database optimizations, a lot of more technical aspects, and also, where people think we should go with the app, what different features they should add. And
well, I definitely want to have you all over the podcast and YouTube channel, but I think we're gonna have to be strategic with kind of whether we put out just an audio version or also include just a video component for you to demo certain aspects.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of it's going to be like YouTube videos. I'd like to do tutorials on how we do different stuff in Ionic. That's for those of you that don't know, that's our framework that we use to build the app. And I think it would be really cool and beneficial for users to see how do we structure things. And so people who are coming up and building their own apps, rather than just going through different tutorials where a lot of them just show you like, okay, how do you just do this one little feature? You don't really see how it really works in a full-fledged app, or like a company that uses a full-fledged app. So I'd love to do different tutorials and showing how we do things and the way that we structure our code, how our data flows. And I'll probably have different tutorials and demos on specifically different areas such as the database, how we use our API, maybe how we do different things in our database and our API, such as grabbing users' pictures from the S3 bucket in Amazon. Maybe how we do authentication. That's a big one. There's not a lot of stuff out there on how people utilize Ionic and Java with AWS. So that'd be a huge thing to go over, and not right on a podcast, right? But I think it'd be cool to have different tutorials on our YouTube page.
Exactly. So for those of you who are listening on the Spotify or the Apple Podcast platform, and you're really enjoying it, I encourage you to go check out our YouTube channel as well. There's definitely going to be a certain amount of content on there that doesn't really make sense on the podcast platform. But, I did just kind of want to get this on that platform as well because, well, personally, I love listening to podcasts in the gym. I think that they're an amazing way to get information. And, I didn't really want to sell ourselves short on, this whole side of, our outreach capabilities. One last thing is I think it would also be cool to kind of have you on the podcast if I have a really technical guest. I think that there's certain questions and certain conversations that I might not be able to have with someone, who's a software developer. So I don't want to hold back any conversations.
Oh, yeah.
By interviewing everybody.
Yeah, I mean, I think with our podcast, we span a lot of different areas. Mm-hmm. And with our users, we can specify, all right, this is going to be a more technical one.
Yeah.
And so people who are looking at that area, maybe they're, in a computer science degree or some kind of technical field in college, or they're doing it right now for fun. Mm-hmm. I'd love to have it because, I talk all the time with different technical people, and the idea is we kind of flow between us, and it kind of is the ideas are exponential, right?
Mm-hmm. Something I'm going to ask every person on the podcast, I'm going to ask you is, what do you expect out of the gym 30 years from now? So you walk into the gym, the year's 2050. What do you expect that experience to be like?
Yeah, so with gyms nowadays, there's some things that, are tracked here and there. But walking into a gym 30, 50 years from now, you should expect that everything is going to give you more information. And it's going to be tracked to somewhere to give you, more in-depth knowledge of your own workouts.
More feedback, too.
Yeah, exactly. So it's all going to be connected into one system. Maybe, Golds has their own system that they use, and Lifetime Fitness has their own. But it's all going to be somewhere where you can go, and maybe they have an app, maybe they have different classes that will give you more feedback. Mm-hmm. But it's all going to be in a way where it helps you to not only work out more, but get stronger and become a better person as well. Mm-hmm. And as well, another thing I'd like to go off of is the at-home gym, which is a huge market. Peloton has their own thing. And there's different companies that have their own specific areas where, Peloton's cardio and a bike. But there's not one unified, package.
Yeah.
There's not something where I can buy one thing and I have everything and it's all tracked and giving me information bouncing off of all the different areas of fitness, right? You have the cardio and you have the weightlifting, stretching and stuff like that. So I definitely see in 30, 50 years that there's going to be packages, there's going to be companies out there that give you a unified system that gives you feedback.
No, I completely agree, right? I don't want to have like an app for my cardio bike and then have a separate app for my dumbbell and then have a separate app for, the basketball game I was playing. Like I want to have it all unified under one, application and have no aspect of my fitness regimen that I have to manually enter into that system.
Absolutely.
Nothing. We actually have an idea for a dumbbell, and we have a design right now for one that kind of sits on top of a scale, and it's an adjustable dumbbell where once you pick it up, the weight difference in the scale is going to know how much weight you have in your hands, and then we're going to attach like an accelerometer to your wrist, or maybe tap into the one that is in like an Apple Watch or a Fitbit and use that to then track how many reps you're doing. So that's one way we plan on kind of bridging that gap over to, smart technology. But when it comes to 30 years from now, right, I would not only expect this dumbbell to track your weight and reps, I would also expect it to know every single exercise I'm doing, right? Differentiate on its own. Oh, that is bicep curls. Oh, those are hammer curls, right? Those slight differences are going to be a huge challenge, I think. I think weightlifting is going to be the biggest challenge, for this whole smart gym system we're talking about. And so, yeah, I mean, that's something that I would really expect to be in a gym 30 years from now. Hopefully it's us, that pushes that horizon. But either way, right, I really am looking forward to kind of smart lifting equipment, that knows exactly what you're doing. One thing we talked about with this channel is like, yes, we want to start a company. Yes, we want to make money. But, more than that is we just want to make this educational, and we just kind of want to contribute to the global knowledge base of how to track exercises through technology, right? And so, We are hoping to learn from people on the show. We're hoping to kind of spread our ideas. We're hoping to push this industry, into a technological revolution. Honestly, like that's kind of thinking far ahead, but I really think it's possible.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, a bunch of these industries are very small businesses. No one comes up. You don't really see a lot of huge gyms making, strides in these areas. And if they're not putting it out there for the rest of the community. So I think all the small businesses and all the community engagement needs to be together on this, because if our vision is to have a smart gym in the end, everyone needs to work together to make sure that we can achieve that goal. Competition in the end will force it to become cheaper, more available. But at the start, we're in a very research specific period of this time where a lot of it has not been done before. A lot of people are doing research and trying to figure out what's the best way to do it. So it's not going to help if everyone's keeping their own ideas to themselves. And so really everyone just needs to work together. That's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, I completely agree. So I think at that point, we're going to wrap up the episode. It has been a lot of fun, doing this first episode. I hope that everyone enjoys it. Stay tuned. I'm going to be interviewing a lot of different guests, and I think Matt is going to be appearing on episodes, like every 3 or 4 episodes. So, looking forward to having him back on and looking forward to learning a lot more about this industry.
Thanks, Tom.
Yeah, thanks, Matt, for being here. Have a good one, guys.